Hey everybody, we're going to just continue now. We're on our actually the final module now. This is module number 11. No, number 12. This is on stress, and we're finishing out stress. We were talking in the last one about the fight or flight response, which most of us are in. Most people are living in a constant state of stress, especially in the times we're living in right now. Everybody I have spoken with is living this way, whether they kind of want to or not. They're just being exposed, even when they go outside, to a lot of stress. So we were talking last time about one of the best ways to sort of offset the high stress is pleasure and connection. Now, you're going to have to actually try to do this nowadays. You're going to have to go out of your way and start changing your stress response. We talked last time about compulsive behaviors like alcohol and drugs and excessive shopping and gambling and things that people are doing because they are so stressed and they just really want to get away from it. So one of the things we talked about last time, and I want to get into more here, is pleasure and connection. One of the best ways to fight stress and overactivation of the sympathetic nervous system is with pleasure. So endorphins are the body's feel-good chemicals, and we can cause those endorphins to be released. So last time I was showing you guys some of the ideas of how we can do that. So here's a fellow, and he is creating. And for a lot of people, endorphins are released this way. They get into a good headspace. It's very relaxing for them. It may not be for someone else, but it is for some. So what is another way to stay in this pleasure and connection mode? Learn to have play. Now, I don't know about you, but I am working all day. I'm constantly in the mode of, well, I wear many hats. I have my own business. I'm talking to many people. I'm usually trying to resolve issues. I really don't, unless I make it, I don't really have a lot of playtime. So according to psychiatrist Stuart Brown, play has the following characteristics. It is apparently purposeless. Look at a child, right? They're not thinking about having to go to work. Play is done for its own sake, not to achieve a goal. It's voluntary. It's inherently attractive. It's fun, and it feels good. It's outside of time. When fully engaged in play, you lose a sense of passage of time. It's outside of yourself, right? It's improvisational, it's spontaneous, it's non-rigid, it's even addictive because it makes us want to do more of whatever it is. Based on these characteristics, play isn't limited to games or sports. Art, music, cooking, all forms of creative expression can be play for people, right? I know ethnic groups and parts of the world where things are different. I know in certain countries of the world, for instance, they have a siesta every afternoon. Stores even close down. Restaurants close down. They take the afternoon, a few hours to rest. They lay down, whatever they may do. So some of this is ethnic and cultural. Some of it's where we live. We tend to be more driven in the USA where we're working our 9-to-5 day. But whatever you can do, whatever you could join, this looks like fun. People are doing some dancing. Something like this might not be your cup of tea, but for some people, it really puts them into pleasurable mode. And again, we're thinking about these endorphins and we're thinking about connecting with other people, not isolating. This is a stress reducer. And it's all about our perspective. In adults, playfulness is associated with several positive behaviors, including productivity, creativity, flexibility, optimism, empathy, the capacity to handle stress. I remember one day I saw some program and it was showing, I can't remember the name of it, a huge company and how they let their employees bring their dogs to work. They had play areas. They could bring their children occasionally. There was a lot of things they did to sort of bring this into the work environment. It encourages cooperation, promotes problem solving, and fosters a sense of community and belonging. In contrast, playless lives, people who are driven constantly and in stress, high stress, they're characterized by depression, over control, driven ambition, envy, and often personal breakdown. So we have this little meme here of people, basically in play mode. You can see it in their faces. Unfortunately, we see it in movies and read it in books, and we don't usually personally experience a lot of this because our lives are usually so directive. And if you have small children, you're just constantly in that mode. If you have, jobs that are high stress, again, we're not experiencing a lot of this. But let's talk about what it could be for you. I encourage you to think about the things you loved to do as a child or when you had more play in your life. What gave you the most joy? What activities did you lose yourself in? Make a list of play activities using your play history. Sometimes a quick glance at that list throughout the day will be enough of a reminder to be playful. It can help to have a list like that you can refer to in the course of a busy day to help you get some quick ideas. Play is all about perspective. If you look for chances to play, they're everywhere. You throw a ball for a dog. You play hide and seek with your kids. You improvise on a piano, carrying a sketchbook with you, or simply going on aimless walks in the woods. When we engage in play, it is important to embrace a beginner's mind. In Zen practice, the term beginner's mind refers to an attitude of openness, humility, curiosity, and a lack of preconceived notions. This is an excellent mental state to cultivate for play, since fear of looking silly, unskilled, or awkward is one of the biggest obstacles to play. People don't like to do things they don't know how it's going to be for them, right? So they don't want to expose themselves to it. So it's all about our perspective and how we think. And this is a great example. I actually got this picture from somebody who went to Ireland. And in Ireland, especially when you go to a pub, it's not just there to, you're not just there to have to drink. You know, Americans are very different, but, you know, it's a family place for one thing over there, and people get together, they play music, they just get together. It's an environment that's very different. And maybe music for you, singing or playing of instruments, puts you into this endorphin releasing mode, you know, somewhere where the stress is released. You need a place. We all need a place like that. You know, some people are more introverted, some people are more extroverted, but I know each of us has a place. One of the things we love to talk about in health a lot is getting outside. There are 3 features that are unique to spending time outdoors: exposure to sunlight, making contact with nature, and getting outdoor exercise. Our ancestors spent about half their days in the light of the sun. Today, we're all afraid of the sun. And while there's no doubt that too much UV radiation can increase the risk of skin cancer, not enough sunlight can also cause problems. One of the primary benefits of sunlight, of course, is that it stimulates vitamin D production. And D is more of a hormone. We're going to talk in the next set of modules on supplementation a lot about D and magnesium and these different supplements that are so vital for us. I've got a picture here of people being outside, and, you know, again, getting outside just all on its own is so stress relieving, right? Vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency is a major predisposing risk factor to cancer, heart disease, stroke, hypertension, autoimmune disease, type 2 diabetes, depression, birth defects, and infectious disease. I would say right now, you know, thinking of the COVID thing, vitamin D is huge, right? Yet as important as vitamin D is, the benefits of sunlight don't stop there. Ultraviolet light has been shown to stimulate nitric oxide production, which helps blood vessels to relax and expand, reducing your blood pressure. Sun exposure may also help regulate your immune function and reduce inflammation, improve endocrine function, elevate your mood, increase DNA repair capacity, and reduce skin lesions in psoriasis, eczema, and vitiligo. I mean, this is amazing, right? Natural environments have restorative and rejuvenating effects. They reduce stress and blood pressure and improve one's outlook on life. I remember going to Queen Elizabeth Park. I grew up in Vancouver, Canada, and I remember there was this huge area that you could go into in the park, and it was inside, and it was all these tropical plants in there, and there was butterflies everywhere, and you came from outside and you went into this environment, and I remember my basic feeling of just, you know, it was amazing. It was this natural environment. It was so wonderful in there. I know my joke to my friend the other day was when I put on my sunglasses, and I have these ones that are brown. The lenses are actually brown, and there's this weird thing. I can feel my eyes relaxing when I put them on in bright sunlight. So, you know, there's patients in hospital rooms that recover faster when they're exposed to plants or nature. Prison inmates whose cell windows face nature have fewer illnesses than those who face the prison courtyard. Office workers with views of trees and flowers feel that their jobs are less stressful and more satisfying than those with windowless offices. Think of that. Nature can improve the capacity to tolerate stress and reverse mental and physical fatigue. Simply put, nature is in our DNA. Humans have an innate tendency to seek connections with nature and other forms of biological life. Put plants in your home and office. You should see my bedroom. I have plants everywhere. Get to know your local parks, limit your screen time, go camping, get a dog. These are all ways to get closer to nature and back to our ancestral roots. Another way to do that is to exercise outdoors. Outdoor exercise provides both sunlight and more contact with nature, but it also has some unique benefits. Running outdoors, for example, tends to affect your muscles differently than running inside on a treadmill. Isn't that fascinating? It's often more strenuous in part because of wind resistance outside and changes in your terrain. There are also less tangible benefits of outdoor exercise. Compared with exercising indoors, outdoor exercise is associated with greater feelings of revitalization and positive engagement, decreases in tension, confusion, anger, and depression, and increased energy. For example, joggers who exercise in a natural green setting feel much more restored than people who burn the same number of calories in a gym or other man-made setting. I mean, that's amazing, right? Look at these people. What are they doing? They're outside. You're getting the breathing, the air, right? You're talking to each other. Even if you hike alone, I mean, there's something so inspiring. I get it all the time when I like to hike outside. Even just going outside and working in my garden, I get it every single time. There's something about being outside. I can't explain it. Listen, if you've never really done this and all of this sounds very daunting to you, or maybe you have bad feet, maybe you have plantar fasciitis, you have some sort of problem with your feet, you have arthritic conditions, start very small. You can go out in your backyard and simply walk around in that backyard, right? If you do your breathing exercises, or you're taking that standing break because you're sitting all day, go outside in your backyard, walk around, breathe the air, do some deep breathing exercises, count to, 5 on your inhale of breath, slow down your exhales, start breathing from the diaphragm, right? Start breathing in that outside air. Let yourself actually be in the sunlight without a hat on and without sunglasses. It's going to get into where the pineal gland produces melatonin. Melatonin helps us sleep at night. It regulates our sleep and wake and sleep cycles. So I just think it's so important to get outside. Let's increase our vitamin D. Let's do what we need to do to help our bodies, increase our endorphins and decrease that stress response, whatever it might take. I really challenge you after these 2 sets of exercise and stress modules to start finding out what it is for you. Maybe you've never had time in your life. You've been always active. Then you had children. You've never had that time to really figure out what it is that you like. What do you like? This might take you some time. It's going to be something that you kind of lose yourself in, something that takes you away and helps the stress response to drop. So I come before you now, right? The end of this one. I'm going to go into the next section of the next 4 modules, and they're going to be on a supplementation. I really love going through supplementation. We're going to talk about adaptogens. We're going to talk about the type of supplements I would recommend. Do I do a lot of supplements? What would I recommend for the average person to do? And we're going to really get into that. It's going to help your stress response. It's going to help you be able to exercise maybe at a greater level, right? Something that gives you more energy. We're going to start talking about lots of the stuff that you're always wondering about. Let's just put it like that. So anyway, I'm going to end this video. And I'm going to be starting on the next set of videos that you're going to see next time. So again, I will see you then. If anytime you want to stop any one of these videos and stop and really look at the memes and reread something that I have talked about, always feel free to do that. I gave a lot of information on this one on stress that was pretty in depth on the sympathetic and parasympathetic, how we respond in our environment, to our environments through our system. So I think that might be important information to go back on. But anyway, I'm going to stop now and I'm going to go into the next set. So we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.